I'm back. As I said I would. Moon in Sagittarius right now, so I'm dropping the fucking hammer. First thing I want to talk about is the destructive nature of polyamory, as I touched on a little bit in the last video. Polyamory, as many of you probably know, is the idea that you can love many people sexually. That it's good to sleep with many people if you want to. And again, I'm not saying people should be prevented from doing this. But what I am saying is that this is a vice. This is a destructive influence upon society. Mainly upon the family dynamic, which the family dynamic is perhaps the greatest strength we have against the tyranny of the state. Because when people can come together and build families, those are the pillars for all other community dynamics to build on. You know, a man and a woman are the pillars of society, and when they come together, there's nothing that can stop that. But when you're polyamorous, you're spreading yourself around, creating not more love, as they will say. You're making all of your relationships superficial. They have no depth. There's no way to actually bond and form that trust that comes with a monogamous relationship. You know, and they'll say, well, you know, monogamy is all based on jealousy, that, you know, it harbors jealousy, and jealousy is toxic. No. Jealousy isn't always toxic. Jealousy can be a sign that you care. That you care a lot about your partner, and you don't want to see them make a mistake, denigrate themselves. The other thing is there is a untapped wellspring of sexual healing that can come from the potential of tantric sex that only monogamy can bring. Because Tantra, white Tantra, the pathway of the Kundalini, the ascending serpent, requires deep trust between people. And you're just not going to have that when you introduce more people. Maybe if you have been practicing Tantra for decades with a monogamous partner, maybe then could you introduce somebody else. But why fucking risk it? See, part of the tantric practice is that when you are doing the act of the hyros gamos with your partner, you are ascending up through the chakra levels, and you are raising your consciousness. And most sexual relationships these days don't get out of the first three chakras. They don't even reach the heart chakra. And this is because the seed is wasted, usually. And because there isn't that bond of trust between people. So, the tantrum might be a little bit off topic, but, so I'll get back to relationship dynamics between men and women. It seems to me these days that men and women have switched roles, so to speak. If you study Kabbalah, you'll notice that strength and care are on the same level on the tree of life. That they are mirrors of each other, that they are equals, that you need to have strength to be able to care, and that by caring you are showing strength. And so traditionally you could see the masculine aspect as strength and the feminine aspect as care. But it seems to me that these days men care way too much. I mean, I certainly have spent a lot of time in such a state where I just cared way too much about some woman out there. And women have been pushed by society to be as strong as they fucking can these days. I mean, there was a Super Bowl halftime show a few years back. I don't remember. I don't follow the Super Bowl or anything like that. But I do remember Katy Perry performing at the halftime show, and she came out on this giant robotic lion, which and she was like riding this lion and singing, and what that is symbolism taken from the tarot, taken from the strength card, where a woman is opening a lion's mouth and using strength. So it was the glorification of the strength of women. It's sad though that it seems like in the process of becoming strong that women have lost a lot of their capacity to care. And vice versa, men have been pushed to get in touch with their feminine side and be more caring. And as a result, it seems like they've lost a lot of their strength. And this is making us unattracted to each other, because a man in his strength is strong, and a woman in her strength is caring. So what I've noticed is if you're too caring, these women want nothing to do with you. It's only really when you walk away that they show any kind of interest. It's really kind of perplexing sometimes and just annoying, because it's so clear that they're just fucking playing games. You know, social media, I've heard it said social media is like porn for women. That, you know, as bad as porn is for men especially, social media is sort of the equivalent of that for women, because men are very visual. You know, they get off visually, whereas women get off on attention. And so if you're, you know, throwing her attention, you know, liking her posts and all of that, that's giving her more of a sexual rush than it does for a man. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have, but it's way easier for a woman to get any kind of notice on social media. I mean, she can do pretty much anything, and she's gonna get showered with likes and attention. It's rather nuts. I mean, I've talked about how we're kind of overrun with simps these days who just think, oh, if I just care a little bit more, maybe she'll throw me some crumbs, right? No, I mean, God, I'll never forget. I was a freshman in college, you know, 18, 19. God, I was head over heels for a woman. Oh my God, she was, you know, she was everything to me. Everything I wanted, right? And I came on way too strong, of course. Turned out she was seeing someone else, as they always are, it seems. And, you know, it fizzled and it died. But I kept hoping, you know, I kept coming around, trying to chat her up at the lunch hall, right? And, you know, she just kept making it clear she wasn't interested, and little naive me just went on, you know, thinking, you know, if I just keep trying harder, maybe it'll happen. But as fate would have it, I went home that summer. I started working concrete, doing a concrete job, which was way out of the norm of what everyone at that yuppie college was doing. But, and then I went back, you know, that summer, or I went back to college, and that fall, and I quickly realized after a couple of weeks that I needed to get the fuck out of there. That college at that time wasn't for me. So I went home, and I started seeing a girl from my high school. A little bit younger than me, but hey. But about a week into that relationship, boom. Who's texting me? That girl I was head over and heels in love with back in college. It's a little spooky how psychic they can be sometimes, but it's like it's like the minute you don't care, that's when they care. It's like what the fuck has happened to us? Like, the only way we can make things fucking work with each other is if at least somebody is caring and somebody is reciprocating. You know, reciprocation. You know, you'll they might message you one day, right? You know, telling you, you did something cool or whatever, and then you message them back, like, equally, like, enthusiastic, and, silence. Gone. Ghosted. It just a little fucking game they're playing, you know? I mean, but this is what social media has done to women is they have so many options that the only way you can stand out as a man is if you're not simping for them. You know, men need to realize that they have shit to do. You have work to do as a man. To build yourself up, to build your kingdom, to make something of your life. Women, it's not so much that way with women. You know, they only have so many fertile years. They are really most attractive to us as men when they are young and fertile and not debasing themselves. But as a man, I mean, if you're on your purpose, you're on your path, I mean, you're just gonna get sexier and sexier the older you get. I mean, until you reach maybe 45, 50. I mean, you peak later in life than a woman does. Yeah. Reciprocation. It's lacking in our world. Like you can't just be straight up with the man. You can't just be, like, honest. Like, hey, I like you. Hey, I like you too. No, you gotta be, like, testing him, seeing how much he's gonna simp for you. Like, it's... I mean, here's the thing, guys, is, like, women are always shit testing you. Always. And you gotta be able to navigate that. You gotta be able to stand firm and straight and unwavering. You gotta just be that rock that the waves of chaos can crash upon and not be swayed. Easier said than done. I can tell you that. Women have a overinflated sense of self-worth these days, though. Yes, you peak when you're younger, when you're young and fit, but it doesn't make you special. It doesn't make you a goddess just because you have a vagina. It's but this is what's being sold to women, is that they are the goddess. They are the, and I'm not saying that there isn't an aspect of women that is the goddess. I'm just saying that there are prerequisites for such a lofty title, namely care. Care is the aspect of the goddess, the the principal aspect of the goddess. Without care, we don't have anything. Right. Men need discipline. Everyone needs discipline, actually. You know, men need the discipline that comes with, you know, having to be alone, to make something of their life, to build their life up, to facing the reality that, I mean, once you get away from, like, puppy love of high school and all that, like, that fairy tale kind of bliss, once that ends for you, and I mean, more power to you if you can make that last, but you're probably facing the reality, unless you're some kick-ass stud, you know, on his shit from the very fucking get-go, like, doing everything right, I mean, even then, you're probably facing the reality that you're gonna be alone for a while, for years maybe, and I'm telling you, like, the quicker you can just accept that and just get to fucking work, building yourself up, the better off you'll be, and honestly, the quicker you'll actually find somebody who is attracted to you enough to build a life with you. But on the other side of it, it's like, when you do put the work in, building yourself up, doing things right, you start looking around like, what the fuck is left? Like, where are the quality women who aren't debasing themselves, aren't sleeping around, aren't, you know, getting drunk every weekend? It's rare to find a woman who has the discipline of restraint. And yeah, it's rather sad. Because you could, like, you know, climb that ladder, build your business, build your life up all the way, and then you could get conned. You could get fooled still by some woman who makes you think she is that woman of virtue, but she's just fronting. Happens more than you'd think. But as I touched on in the first video I did, this whole relationship gambit, this battle of the sexes, is the biggest divide that the social engineers, the tyrants, can find for society. There is no bigger divide than in society of demographics than man and woman. And so if they can pit men against women, they can divide and conquer us. And as I said, the familial dynamic is our greatest strength, because that is the foundation for all communities. Monogamous couples are pillars that all the rest of community can build on top of. And when we start doing that, and getting away from, you know, having to use the system, you know, if we could come together and actually create sustainable communities of permaculture and, you know, alternative energy technologies and esoteric wisdom, there's nothing stopping us. So gosh, it's unfortunate that I have to say it, but I see more men aware of this than I do women, because women are off in delusional la-la land playing how many likes can I get on my bikini photo. It's destroying society. And men need to fucking stop liking those fucking pictures. They need to fucking walk away. There is no reciprocation in that kind of dynamic. Why are you entertaining that kind of filth? Like, not that a woman in a bikini is filth. Believe me, I like boobs and tits just as much as the next man. But I have enough self-respect to know that it's better. It's better when you wait for when they're actually in front of you, rather than when they're on a screen for everyone. I mean, this is about having some standards, like having some self-respect enough to be able to say, no, I'm not going to entertain the delusions of narcissism. most people, it seems, are oblivious to what's going on, to the how dark the hour is that we are in when it comes to, I mean, all the wars, all of the agendas, the AI, the climate agenda, the digital currency. I mean, honestly, how many women do you know who are actually, blowing the horn about this compared to men? I, I'll bet you there's more men being the watchdog than there are women, and you know what? Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's what men should be doing as their rightful role of warrior. But what's really sad to me is I see these men blowing the horn of freedom, and most of them get shit on by women who think somehow that because these men are actually standing up for what's right, that somehow that's oppressing women. I mean, this is the level of delusion that women are exhibiting these days. It's like you call out the dynamic that like socialism is a tyrannical form of government, and you get attacked because socialism and feminism go hand in hand. Socialism is the empowerment of feminism, don't you know? It Nothing could be further from the truth when it comes to the empowerment of women. I mean, first of all, they lied to you about what real empowerment is when it comes to being a woman. They taught you that being a mother, being a wife, is somehow wrong, or a lesser position than some woman, being a boss babe. And, like, don't get me wrong. If a woman's being a boss babe, like, doing what she has to do to, like, feed herself and put food on the table, and isn't, like, being a welfare, you-know-what, that's fine with me. Like, I honestly, like, when I see people doing, when I see people being economically responsible, I support that pretty much across the board. When they're not being a mooch off of the state, I'm supportive of that, because that means that the state wanes in power. But, I mean, the rise of single motherhood has just increased the state's power, and the state actively promotes single motherhood in many cases, where a woman will get more benefits from the state when she doesn't have a man in the house. like this is what they are doing to us. they are trying to pull us away from each other so that breeding just becomes a formality, that and the children that result are raised by the state to become more taxpayers. Like, it's so evil. It's so nefarious. But most modern women just they can't see past the programming of being a housewife is oppressive. Like, it's just it's insane. It really is. So, anyway, I think that's enough for tonight. But thanks for watching. I'll be back.